The silent vanguard. Commander Eliza Reeves stood motionless on the bridge of the UES Harbinger, her gaze fixed on the distant stars where sensors had detected the approaching alien vessels. The experimental warship represented humanity's greatest achievement, and its best-kept secret. For decades, Earth had maintained the facade of a relatively primitive spacefaring civilization, while secretly developing technologies that would redefine warfare among the stars. "Status report," she commanded, her voice steadied despite the gravity of the moment. Lieutenant Jackson looked up from his station, the blue glow of holographic displays casting shadows across his face. "All systems nominal, Commander. Quantum shields at full capacity. Stealth systems engage. To any conventional scanners, we appear to be nothing more than a small research vessel. And the evacuation ships. All civilian vessels have successfully jumped to the refuge coordinates. The defense fleet is positioned behind Mars, outside of direct scanning range. We're the only ship visible to anyone entering the system." Eliza nodded, satisfaction momentarily replacing the tension in her expression. For years, humanity had monitored the aggressive expansion of the Siraxian collective, watching as they subjugated one civilization after another, methodically harvesting resources and technology. Earth had been dismissed as insignificant, a backwater planet barely worth conquering, and that misperception had been humanity's greatest advantage. "Commander," called Communications Officer Lin Wei, her fingers dancing across floating interfaces, multiple warp signatures detected. Large vessels approaching from Vector 312. Main viewer. The bridge's central display shimmered to life, revealing the breathtaking sight of space tearing open. One by one, massive ships emerged, sleek, predatory vessels with curved hulls that shimmered with an oily iridescence under the distant sun's light. Dozens appeared, then hundreds, spreading across the view screen in a display of overwhelming force. "That's considerably more than intelligence predicted," muttered Chief Engineer Kazarian, though his voice held more curiosity than fear. Eliza's expression remained impassive. "It changes nothing. Hail the lead vessel." Moments of tense silence passed before the screen flickered, revealing the alien commander. The Siraxian stood nearly 8 feet tall, with a segmented exoskeleton and multiple pairs of compound eyes arranged in unsettling asymmetry across its elongated head. Its voice emerged as a synthesized approximation of human speech, the translation algorithm struggling with the clicks and harmonics of its native language. "I am Supreme Archon Vex Theral of the Siraxian Collective. Your system is now under collective authority. Surrender your world and resources immediately, and your species may be permitted continued existence as a client race." Eliza met the alien's gaze unflinchingly. "I am Commander Eliza Reeves of the United Earth Ship Harbinger. Humanity does not recognize your authority in this system. We suggest you reconsider your position." The Siraxian's mandibles twitched in what intelligence reports had identified as their equivalent of amusement. "A single ship. Your species truly is as primitive as our scouts reported. Your technology is centuries behind ours. Your weapons cannot penetrate our defensive matrices. Your defiance is illogical." Perhaps Eliza allowed herself a small smile. "But there's something you should know about humans, Archon. We don't appreciate being underestimated." She cut the transmission with a gesture. "They've locked weapons on us," Commander reported Tactical Officer Nakamura, her voice steady despite the hundreds of enemy ships now targeting their lone vessel. "As expected. Deploy quantum probes. Let's see exactly what we're dealing with." Several tiny objects, no larger than a human fist, silently launched from the Harbinger. On secondary screens, data began flowing as the probes analyzed the Siraxian fleet, their shield frequencies, weapon capacities, and communication networks systematically mapped and decoded. "Archon Vex Theral is hailing us again," said Officer Lin. "Ignore it," Eliza replied. "They're just giving us a final warning before they fire." Lieutenant Jackson, has the tactical AI finished its analysis? "Yes, Commander. We have their shield frequencies. Their fleet communications use a crystalline resonance network, but it's less sophisticated than ours. The AI says it can disrupt it with a targeted pulse. Perfect. The massive Saraxian flagship fired first, a beam of coruscating energy that should have vaporized the Harbinger instantly. Instead, it splashed harmlessly against an invisible barrier several kilometers in front of the human vessel. "Quantum shields holding," reported Lieutenant Jackson with a smile. "They don't even realize they're not hitting us." Eliza leaned forward. "Now let's show them what humanity is really capable of. Mr. Kazarian, activate the HFY system." The engineer's fingers flew across his console. "Spectre system online. Commander, ready on your mark." Eliza took a deep breath. This was the moment that would change humanity's place in the galaxy forever. Execute. At first, nothing seemed to happen. The Harbinger remained motionless as the Saraxian fleet continued their barrage, energy weapons flashing across space in a deadly light show. Then, the first Saraxian ship went silent. Its lights flickered and died. Then another and another. Throughout the enemy fleet, systems began failing in cascading waves of dysfunction. "Spectre system at 65% effectiveness and climbing," reported Kazarian. "Their crystalline communication network is collapsing. Their ships can't coordinate. The HFY system, synchronized pulse emission for crystalline technology resonance elimination, represented decades of secret human development. While publicly maintaining a facade of relatively primitive technology, Earth's best minds had created something revolutionary. A quantum-based disruption field that could infiltrate any crystalline-based system, regardless of its alien architecture." On the view screen, panic was spreading through the Saraxian fleet. Some ships were now firing at each other, unable to distinguish friend from foe as their identification systems crashed. "They're attempting to retreat," said Officer Nakamura. "Several ships are trying to form warp fields, but they're destabilizing." "Selective targeting," Ms. Nakamura ordered Eliza. "Disable their flagship. Let the others escape." Precisely targeted energy pulses shot from the Harbinger, striking the massive Saraxian command ship at its propulsion nodes. The vessel shuddered, its warp field collapsing. "Open a channel to Archon Vextheral." The Saraxian commander appeared on screen again, but the imperious demeanor was gone. Its compound eyes shifted rapidly, mandibles clicking in what human synapsologists had identified as extreme stress. "What have you done?" it demanded. "We've demonstrated that your intelligence on humanity is woefully outdated," Eliza replied calmly. "While you watched our public technology develop, our true capabilities remained hidden. This ship represents just a fraction of what we can do." "Impossible. No species at your development stage could create technology that bypasses our defensive matrices or disrupts our crystalline networks." Eliza smiled. "We've been aware of the collective for longer than you realize, Archon. We prepared accordingly." The Saraxian's mandibles clicked rapidly. "This changes nothing. The collective spans 1,000 systems. We will return with a force that will crush your world, regardless of your tricks." "You're welcome to try," Eliza said. "But consider this. If one ship can disable your entire invasion fleet, what do you think our full military can do? The ships you can't detect, the weapons you don't know about." She leaned forward. "Take a message to your leaders, Archon. Earth is not for conquest. We've watched you subjugate other worlds. That ends here." With a gesture, she cut the transmission. "Commander," said Officer Lin, "the remaining Saraxian vessels are retreating. Most have managed to establish warp fields." "Let them go," Eliza ordered. "They need to deliver our message." As the Saraxian fleet disappeared into the darkness of space, leaving their disabled flagship behind, Eliza looked around at her crew. Pride swelled in her chest at what they had accomplished. "Signal Earth Command," she said. "The first phase is complete. The Saraxians now know we're not what they thought we were." Her expression grew serious. "But this isn't over. They'll be back, and in greater numbers. Lieutenant Jackson nodded solemnly. Do you think they'll actually reconsider, Commander? Or will they just throw everything they have at us next time? Eliza gazed at the stars, her mind already planning for what was to come. The Syraxians have conquered 100 worlds because no one ever stood up to them effectively. No one ever surprised them. Today, we did both. She turned to face her crew. They'll be back, but they'll be cautious. And caution gives us time. Time to unveil the rest of what humanity has been hiding. The UES Harbinger turned gracefully away from the disabled Syraxian flagship, its quantum engines humming with power as it accelerated toward the waiting human fleet. The first battle was won, but Eliza knew the war was just beginning. Humanity had revealed its hand. Now they needed to prove it wasn't a bluff. As Mars' rusty form filled the view screen, Eliza looked at the tactical display, showing the positions of Earth's true defense fleet. Hundreds of ships waiting in formation, their advanced technology a testament to humanity's ingenuity and determination. All ships, this is Commander Reeves, she broadcast. Phase 1 complete. Prepare for Phase 2. The Syraxians now know we exist. Let's show them why that should worry them. Breaking the Armada. 3 weeks passed with ominous silence from the Syraxian collective. Humanity used this precious time wisely, activating dormant defense systems throughout the solar system and beyond. Commander Eliza Reeves stood in the Lunar Command Center, surrounded by the holographic representation of humanity's defense network. What had once been hidden was now fully operational, a web of quantum satellites, automated drone platforms, and phase-shifted battle stations that had remained invisible to alien observation for decades. Impressive, isn't it? Admiral Helena Zhao stepped beside her, her weathered face reflecting the blue glow of the holographic display. 200 years of secret development, all coming online at once. Eliza nodded. Do you think it will be enough, Admiral, against what's coming? The Admiral's expression grew grim. Our deep space observation posts have detected their fleet. It's 5 times larger than the first. They're throwing everything they have at us. As expected, Eliza said softly, the Syraxian collective has never encountered meaningful resistance. Their entire empire is built on the assumption of their technological superiority. We've challenged that assumption, and they can't allow it to stand. Admiral Zhao studied the tactical display. The Council has authorized Operation Stardust. All hidden colonies are mobilizing their defense fleets. Eliza's eyes widened slightly. All of them. Even the Kuiper installations. Even Europa Prime, Zhao confirmed, referring to humanity's most advanced and secretive colony hidden beneath the ice of Jupiter's moon. This is an all-or-nothing moment, Commander. If we fail here, there won't be a second chance. Eliza's calm chimed. Commander Reeves, this is Lieutenant Jackson. Long-range sensors have confirmed multiple warp signatures approaching. Estimated arrival, 4 hours. I'll be right there. She turned to the Admiral. Permission to return to the Harbinger, sir. Zhao nodded. Granted. Your ship will lead the vanguard. Remember, Commander, hold them at the asteroid belt. Don't let them reach the inner system. Eliza saluted sharply. We won't fail, sir. 4 hours later, the UES Harbinger waited at the edge of the asteroid belt, surrounded by a fleet of 500 advanced Earth vessels, ships that had been built in secret, trained in the darkness between stars, and kept hidden from prying alien eyes. Behind them, positioned strategically throughout the outer solar system, were the automated defense platforms, thousands of them, each armed with weapons that had never been tested in actual combat. Last transmission from Admiral Zhao, Commander, reported Officer Lin. All systems are green. The Europan fleet is in position. The Mars defense grid is online. Eliza absorbed the information with a nod. Humanity had revealed some of its technological advancements during the first encounter, but they had kept many secrets in reserve. Today, those secrets would determine the fate of their species. Multiple warp field collapses detected. announced Lieutenant Jackson. "They're here." Space seemed to fold and ripple as the Siraxian armada arrived. Not hundreds of ships this time, but thousands. At their center was a vessel that dwarfed even their massive flagship from the previous encounter, a behemoth that radiated power. "That's the Hive Sovereign," said Tactical Officer Nakamura, referencing intelligence reports. "Their supreme command vessel. It's never been deployed outside Siraxian home space before." Eliza's expression remained calm despite the overwhelming force arrayed against them. "They're taking us seriously now." "Good. Open a channel." The view screen flickered to life, revealing not Arkan Vextheral, but a larger, more ornate Siraxian. Its exoskeleton gleamed with metallic implants, and its compound eyes seemed to glow with an inner light. "I am Sovereign Executor Zarkreth," the alien announced, its translator barely keeping up with the complex clicks and whistles. "Your defiance has been noted, humans. Your extinction has been decreed. There will be no further communication." The transmission cut abruptly. "Well, that was brief," remarked Chief Engineer Kazarian. Eliza's lips quirked in a half-smile. "They're not here to talk. Battle stations. Everyone. All ships. Assume defensive formation Delta. Activate quantum shields." As the human fleet moved into position, the Siraxians launched their attack. Thousands of energy beams converged on the human vessels, a display of firepower meant to end the battle before it truly began. The quantum shields held, absorbing and dispersing the energy, but Eliza knew they couldn't maintain this defense indefinitely. "Phase 1, she ordered. "Deploy the NEXUS." Throughout the human fleet, specially designed satellites launched, forming a network around their formation. Each satellite began pulsing with energy, creating a web of quantum connections. "NEXUS network established," reported Lieutenant Jackson. "Energy synchronization at optimal levels." "Execute Phase 2, Eliza commanded. The quantum shields of each human ship suddenly linked together through the NEXUS satellites, forming not individual bubbles of protection, but a unified defensive membrane. Energy from Siraxian weapons striking one section was instantly distributed throughout the entire network, rendering their concentrated fire ineffective. "They're adjusting their attack pattern," noted Nakamura, "deploying fighter craft and attempting to find weak points in our formation." Eliza watched the tactical display, waiting for the precise moment. "All ships, maintain formation. Activate AEGIS drones." From each human vessel, swarms of small unmanned craft deployed, each no larger than a terrestrial automobile, but equipped with advanced AI and defensive capabilities. They moved to intercept the Siraxian fighters, creating an outer perimeter around the human fleet. The Siraxian fighters fired upon the drones, expecting easy targets. Instead, their weapons seemed to pass through the small craft without effect. Holographic decoys intermixed with real drones, making it impossible to distinguish which was which. Meanwhile, the actual drones targeted the Siraxian craft with surgical precision, disabling them without destruction where possible. "Their central command ship is adjusting position," reported Jackson. "They're bringing their primary weapon to bear." On the view screen, the massive Hive Sovereign's bow was opening like a blooming flower, revealing an energy core of blinding intensity. "That's a stellar compressor," Kazarian said, his voice tinged with professional admiration despite the circumstances. "Theoretical technology that can briefly compress stellar material to create a directed energy burst equivalent to a small supernova. Our shields won't hold against that." Eliza's expression remained determined. "They won't get the chance to fire it. All ships, execute Operation Sunspot." Throughout the human fleet, special modules activated, devices that had been the focus of Earth's most classified research program. They began emitting a specific frequency of quantum waves that propagated through space, invisible to conventional sensors. On the Hive Sovereign, the building energy suddenly fluctuated, the blinding light dimming and pulsating erratically. "Quantum interference successful," reported Kazarian. Their stellar compressor is destabilizing. Now, Ms. Nakamura, ordered Eliza, targeted strike on their command ship's propulsion systems. Let's make sure they can't retreat this time. The Harbinger and 5 companion vessels fired synchronized quantum beams, bypassing the Syraxian flagship's shields through the same frequency disruption that had affected their primary weapon. The beams struck with surgical precision, permanently disabling the massive ship's engines. Throughout the Syraxian fleet, confusion reigned. Their most powerful weapon had failed. Their supreme command vessel was immobilized. And now, emerging from behind Jupiter's massive form, came a new human fleet, the Europa Prime Defense Force, ships of a design so advanced they barely resembled conventional spacecraft. Admiral Zhao is hailing all Syraxian vessels, reported Lin. Eliza nodded. Put it through to the fleet-wide channel. Admiral Zhao's voice echoed across space, transmitted on all frequencies the Syraxians could receive. Attention, Syraxian collective forces. Your command ship has been neutralized. Your primary weapon has been rendered inoperable. We now offer you a choice: immediate retreat or complete neutralization. You have 5 minutes to decide. On the tactical display, Eliza watched as the Syraxian fleet fell into disarray. Some ships were already attempting to form warp fields, while others maintained attack positions, apparently awaiting orders that couldn't come through their disrupted command network. The view screen flickered, showing Sovereign Executor Tsar Kreth once more. The regal confidence was gone, replaced by what human xenopsychologists would later identify as a mixture of rage and fear. This is impossible, the Syraxian leader hissed. No species could advance this quickly. No technology could counter our stellar compressor. What are you? Eliza stood from her command chair, facing the alien leader directly. We are humanity, Executor. We're the species you dismissed as primitive. The civilization you thought would be an easy conquest. The people who watched your collective subjugate world after world and decided, no further. You cannot oppose the collective. We span 1,000 systems, and yet here we are. Eliza replied calmly. Your invasion fleet neutralized. Your supreme weapon rendered useless. Your options limited to retreat or destruction. The Syraxian's mandibles clicked rapidly, compound eyes darting as if searching for some explanation or escape. The collective does not retreat. Then the collective will learn something new today, Eliza said, because your alternatives have been reduced to one. She nodded to Officer Lin, who cut the transmission. They're powering weapons again, reported Nakamura. Looks like they've chosen destruction. Eliza's expression was solemn but resolved. So be it. All ships execute final protocol. Target weapons and propulsion systems only. Minimize casualties where possible. Throughout the human fleet, advanced targeting systems locked onto specific points on each Syraxian vessel. The NEXUS network, which had been defensive, now reversed its function, becoming an amplifier for the combined firepower of hundreds of human ships. The resulting barrage was both terrible and beautiful, precise beams of energy that cut through Syraxian shields as if they were non-existent, disabling ships without destroying them where possible, targeting only key systems rather than living quarters. Within minutes, the battle, if it could even be called that anymore, was over. The mighty Syraxian armada hung motionless in space, thousands of vessels rendered inert, their weapons and propulsion systems irreparably damaged. Only the Hive Sovereign remained partially operational, its communication systems deliberately left intact. Open a channel to Executor Tsar Kreth, Eliza ordered. The Syraxian leader appeared once more, its posture now markedly different, mandibles tucked close to its body, in what intelligence had identified as a submissive posture. The battle is over, Executor, Eliza said simply. Your fleet has been neutralized, not destroyed. That was a choice on our part, one your collective has rarely extended to others. The Syraxians seemed to struggle with the concept. What do you want? Peace, Eliza replied. On our terms. Earth will send diplomatic representatives to negotiate. The collective will cease all expansion activities immediately. The subjugated worlds will be given the opportunity for self-determination, and you will return to your territory with the knowledge that humanity is not to be threatened again. The Surrection was silent for a long moment before responding. The collective has never negotiated as equals before. Then this will be another first for you, Eliza said. Escort vessels will be provided to tow your disabled ships back to your nearest outpost. The diplomatic team will follow within the week. We expect full cooperation. After the transmission ended, silence fell over the Harbinger's bridge. The crew looked to Eliza, their expressions a mixture of awe, relief, and lingering tension. "Is it really over, Commander?" asked Lieutenant Jackson quietly. Eliza gazed at the view screen, at the thousands of disabled Surrection ships that had come to conquer and instead found themselves conquered. "The battle is over," she said, "but this is just the beginning of a new chapter for humanity. Today, we've stepped onto the galactic stage in a way no one expected, not as conquerors, not as victims, but as protectors." She turned to her crew, a smile finally breaking through her composed demeanor. "Today, we've shown the galaxy that humanity won't stand by while others suffer, that we won't bow to aggression, that our ingenuity and determination are forces to be reckoned with." As the human fleet moved to secure the Surrection vessels, Admiral Zhou's voice came through on a private channel. "Well done, Commander Reeves. The Council is unanimous. Operation Protectorate is now authorized." Eliza's eyes widened slightly. Operation Protectorate, the initiative to extend Earth's protection to worlds oppressed by the collective, to help them rebuild and develop their own defenses. What had been a controversial proposal was now reality. "Understood, Admiral. The Harbinger stands ready." As the flagship of a new humanitarian mission, the Harbinger would soon lead a fleet not of conquest, but of liberation. And the galaxy would never be the same. "Set course for Earth, Lieutenant Jackson," Eliza ordered. "We have preparations to make. A new era begins today." As the quantum engines engaged, propelling them toward home, Eliza looked once more at the disabled Surrection fleet. What had begun as a desperate defense of their world had become something much more. The birth of humanity as a galactic power. Not through conquest or intimidation, but through innovation, determination, and the courage to stand against overwhelming odds. The battle was over before it truly began. But humanity's journey to the stars was just getting started.